We should be live.
Breaker 92, Nick Hiatt coming in.
Check, check, check. Nick Hiatt
Check, check,
here.
check. Haha, what up, man?
How's it going?
Guys, Twitch stream, ladies and gentlemen. I am Banks, one of the co-founders of KitBash3d, and I could not be more pumped to be here with you guys for an interactive Q&A with Nick Hiatt.
How's it going, everybody?
There he is in his own studio. You got the helicopter rod on, perfect.
Good, good, good. Ready for comms?
So many of you probably know Nick, and you all know how this goes. You can ask questions at any point, but if you don't, I want to just walk a little bit through Nick's career. Nick is the art director, or has been the art director for Bad Robot's visual effects wing, Kelvin Optical.
Yep.
You worked on Star Wars, Star Trek, 10 Cloverfield Lane there.
Mm-hmm. It was a very fun ride over there. Those were good films to work on.
I know that everything there is shrouded in secrecy, and I'm trying real hard not to get us lightsaber to death here. But can you talk at all about what it's like to work on Star Wars?
I can say everything to the limits of my NDA, obviously, right? This project's very strict on the NDAs, but I can say my experience there at Bad Robot specifically during that time period was for sure one of the coolest in my career. Being on a movie that big, a Star Wars, and being that most of the world was waiting to see what we had produced, it was such a great experience to be there at that moment in time in history, like being in that under that roof and watching cinema history unfold and seeing all the talent coming through there was just a special time and place. It was a talent nexus. It was great.
Can I pause you for a second? I think we've got a technical difficulty.
Shoot, what's happening?
You're in like 8-bit for some reason. I think your the camera, your webcam needs to come up.
Up as in what?
In your sources, no, on the OBS in your sources. If you bring your webcam higher in the priority.
Let's see, webcam.
Because right now it's hidden behind bridge.
How do I bring it up? Just drag it to the top?
Yep, or the arrows up.
It's at the top now. Is it up?
I don't know, Twitch feed. Can you guys see it? Not looking there for me yet, but it could be just that there is a tiny delay.
Webcam is at the top of my stack.
We got a nope.
Let's see. Capture,
yeah, the box.
audio. The video box is grayed out. I don't know what that means. Video from any, and it's grayed.
Yeah. Oh, it's Stack Some Stash has helped us out. See down in the right corner how you are still in my picture?
How you are still in my picture? What do you
mean? So check on the webcam layer.
Okay, right here.
Yeah, is the eye turned on?
Yes, correct. The eye is on.
Okay.
Let me bring OBS into the stream so you can see it. Maybe that'll help. Sorry, everybody. Bear with. We're breaking it in here.
Breaking it in, but
yep, webcam is active. In the settings, this is where the video is grayed. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Into eternity. Dork076 says no worries. Thank you, my man. Or my girl, whichever one. Feels like I just stepped into the Matrix, Nick. Johnson.
Was that Mike Johnson? All right, Mike.
Is that the Mike Johnson?
Yes, it is the Mike Johnson.
So we got make sure the box is in the frame. Says Mo.
Okay.
The webcam box. Make sure the webcam box is in the frame.
I don't see the webcam box, to be honest, guys. I see your Skype box here.
Man, all we got is me, and no one wants that.
Well.
Finch Game says drag and drop layer with webcam on top of the list of sources. I think we did that one.
Yeah, it's at the very top.
And then Kedzer says, I think he just has to manually resize and position his webcam layer in OBS.
I don't see the webcam layer. I see you.
Yeah, I see.
Please, sorry everyone, technical difficulties.
We're doing so well here.
Let me see if it's floating under something I don't see. Nope. Well, it worked last night.
It was working great. Click on there and see if you can just make me tiny and make you big on the webcam down to the right.
I'm sorry, Banks? Where?
See the webcam down to the right? Yeah, see if you can just make me tiny and you big.
How do I do that?
I don't know.
Oh, this is, so like move me into frame like this? Oh, I can't scale it. Oh, I can. Like that? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wonder if we just have to.
Sorry, everybody. I know this is not what you tuned in for. Bear with us. We'll get to the good stuff. Mo, you got any ideas? Troubleshooting. Well, this is a great segue into visual effects. Sometimes your software doesn't work. You got to learn to troubleshoot, everybody, with a smile.
Skype with Nick Hiatt. Finch Game says, if you want to crop this, hold Alt, then resize. It will work like a crop.
So crop your Skype window, yeah? Oh, whoa,
yeah.
I'm moving everything. Okay, so grab that, hold Alt. Banks, you just got phased. Oh, come on. Now I've made it so small I can't grab it. Oh, this is embarrassing.
All right, well let's we'll have to get we'll get that figured out later. But let's move on.
There we go. Boom.
There we go.
Is this sufficient for everyone?
It's good enough for now.
Okay.
And yeah, Maker Twin says the Twitch Troubleshoot Edition. We just want you all to know how to use Twitch and OBS here.
Yep.
Whoop Whoop says stack some stash. Ed Zolson says super. All right. Bam. Look at you now, Nick.
All right, everybody. I'm in. Sorry for the derail, everybody.
We were talking about Kelvin Optical, which is the visual effects wing of none other than Bad Robot.
Yes.
And I really want to know, and I believe there's some people out there too, what's it like to work on Star Wars?
Well, there was pinch me moments for sure. It was definitely a dream come true. There were moments when I was driving into work where I didn't think any of this was real, that I had been on some crazy acid trip for the last year, imagining any of this was real. But one of the coolest things about the show in general, I think, was the secrecy behind it. Like, I didn't even know what I was working on half the time. They kept it under such tight, a tight noose of, only letting the information out where it was really needed. There were some times I didn't even know what I was working on. Like, I was painting a desert scene for a week, and I thought, oh, this is Tatooine. Nope, totally wrong. It was not Tatooine at all. And there was one moment that I think that was the one that kind of stuck with me the most. We had been working on the trailer for a few months, getting everything ready, and of course, no one in the building had seen the trailer because they kept that on the complete lockdown. So, and it was releasing at some Monday Night Football event or some big football game, I forget the exact day. But I remember sitting in the Bad Robot building, waiting to watch the trailer for the first time with everyone else in the world all together. So like we got to see it all for the first time together, even though everyone in the building was working on it. And I would imagine only a handful of people in the building had actually seen it at that point. So it was really special to like watch this whole thing bloom from the inside, still not knowing what was going on. Just that's how tight the security was on it, and it shows how special the product is, right? It was such a big IP, and so many people want to know everything about it. And I, of course, being in this industry, I have a lot of friends who like Star Wars, obviously. So it was the hardest thing, like going to dinner and like, hey, I know all this stuff. I can't say anything. And obviously the movie's out now, but when I first saw that Han was killed, I was like, oh no, and I would like go to dinner with my best friends and not be able to say a word, just like, oh yeah, yeah. So that part was really cool. I'd never had that experience before. Like, on most films, you kind of know what's going on. You've either read the book or the secrecy's not so intense that you're allowed to see the script, etc. But that was one of my coolest moments from Star Wars, I think, for sure. Just the sheer secrecy behind it. It was like I was involved in making missiles or something.
Oh man. Maker Twin says, "Oh, what? Han gets killed? I know it, man.
What?
I know.
Oh
I
no!
know.
Is this not out
Spoiler
yet?
alerts everywhere.
Yep.
Um,
Banks, how's my stream? You can see my images, yeah?
oh man, you look amazing.
No, not me. I'm cycling through images, yeah? You can see all
Yes, I
this?
got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
I
cycle.
got that. Yeah, there's old Luke.
Luke! This was some of my concept work from the film. But anyway, we'll keep going, Banks.
Um, that's so rad, man. And so, can you want to talk just a little bit, or can you talk just a little bit about what exactly you put in here and how that came about, or should we move on?
Yeah, well, I'll talk a little bit. I mean, I can say anything within the NDA, obviously, right? But I can just talk about these moments. Like when I first saw this footage, they shot this on Skellig Island in Ireland. That's no secret. And when I first saw the footage of the set, I was like, oh my God, this set looks amazing. This looks like a painting itself. There's one or two, like this image here, right? The only thing I did in this was this tiny little island off the background right here, because this plate is so amazing. I was like, oh my God, this plate looks amazing. What do you want me to do? Well, I removed some paths and some cables and things. So I did some plate prep work, but it's just such an awesome image in general. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, this is the set? Like, wow, it's beautiful. So yeah, it was such a cool moment to work on.
Hmm. Well, and before Kelvin Optical, you've been all over the place, huh? You've been at both sides of Digital Domain when it was the pirate ship and then as well as the corporate being. It's you worked on Thor there and Ender's Game.
Yep, I did.
Done Alice in Wonderland and 2012, which were at Sony, right?
Yep, that was at Sony ImageWorks. Another great place. I was at Sony for a good 4 years off and on.
Wow. And before that, Disney, if I can recall this, right?
Disney was after Sony, but yeah.
After Sony.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep, after Sony.
And Rhythm and Hues was in there at some point?
Rhythm and Hues was in there. That was my first love in the industry, I guess you could say. They broke me in.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, Rhythm and Hues then would have been like the biggest matte department in LA, right?
Yes, Rhythm very quickly. Rhythm realized the value of matte painting, and especially when it comes to saving money. So Rhythm very quickly built one of the biggest matte departments in LA for the longest time. It was like 12, 13 people, maybe more.
Wow.
But and it was led by this great person, Richard Mann. He was an awesome dude, so fun to work for, and he really knew how to make the workday fun, starting early sometimes too. So it was a great place to be. I grew a lot at Rhythm. I met a lot of people. Like I truly owe my career path to Rhythm and Hues and everyone in the art department there, especially the management, which helped me get in the industry, get started, and just the crew. I learned a lot from being a human. I learned a lot about being an artist. It was a great experience. Rhythm, I owe Rhythm so much for my life. I can't give enough gratitude.
You bring up a really good point. Did it just happen for you overnight, or did you have so many blockbusters under your belt, but did the career begin right there in blockbuster land, or did you start somewhere else?
Well, I went to school in the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, and my first job in the industry really was I had an internship from I got a portfolio award at school, and I got an internship at MTV. So I worked at MTV in Miami for a year, and off and on for a year doing graphics. And then I graduated. I stuck around. I taught for one semester and realized that I'm not nowhere near ready to teach. I'm still coming into work hungover. What is this? I can't be teaching these students. So I basically I tried my best to get a job in California. And this is another good thing about networking and how important it is. My next door neighbor from college had a job at Rhythm and Hues. And at the time, I didn't have a huge portfolio. I just graduated college. I had some modeling and texturing. So my buddy at Rhythm and Hues got me a job for 3 days. And so I packed up every single thing that I owned in Miami, stuck it in a U-Haul, and drove. Friday night, I left Miami and got to LA Monday morning at like 6 a.m. and went straight to work. And that 3-day job turned into the 3-year job. So
Wow.
that says, something about putting everything on the line and making that 3,500 something mile drive in 3 days, and coming
Man.
straight to work, no sleep. It's sometimes you have to just put everything on the line.
I'm sure there are a lot of audience members who can relate to that and might even be making some decisions of their own. And I think it's so true in those moments of decision that our destiny is shaped.
Yep, it is. And sometimes if you want something bad enough, you really have to be willing to risk it. And this is another reason why a younger artist, it's the time to do it when you're young, because you get older, things get harder. So if you're new in your career and you're willing to make this move and it means more to you than eating a nice steak dinner every night, you'd rather eat a sandwich every night just because you want to chase your dream, then do it, because the steak will always be there, I promise. Right? So when you're young, it's the time to do it, and put it on the line. Sometimes you have to do it. You have to drive 3,000 miles and spend all your money for a 3-day job, because it could turn into a career starter, right?
And back then you said you were texture painting. You weren't doing.
Yes. When I first left college, my reel was more of a generalist reel, because most of the work in Miami was a generalist style work, right? So there was no, oh, you need to be a texture painter, a matte painter, a lighter, because there were not enough jobs in Miami to do that. So it's really only in cities that have a big VFX footprint where you can specialize, right? So I was a generalist. I did modeling, texturing, some rendering. So my first job in the industry was as a texture painter. And just because it's easier to break in as a texture painter, it's not nearly as complex as matte painting. But as soon as I got into my first day at Rhythm and Hues, sitting outside in the hall was, no, not sitting across the hall was Dylan Cole. And I went into his office and I was like, what is this? It's like, this is matte painting. And I was like, what is matte painting? Why did I not learn this in school? No one taught me this. And so from that day, I was like, okay, watch this. So I would work during the day and I would come at home and train to be a matte painter at night. And eventually over, 2 years, training and training and training every night, sometimes after the bar, right? So you just get back and have a good time. Okay, I want to train. And eventually I got my matte painting chops up enough to get my first gig as a matte painter, which took a couple years, because matte painting is truly the master of all disciplines. You have to know a little bit of everything to even get in the door. So, it takes a few years to do that. But thankfully, I was able to start it at an entry level as a texture painter first, and then kind of bridge my way next to matte painting, which was my inevitable path.
I want to ask the audience: do we have any specific matte painters out there? I like to think of matte painting as sort of the lead guitarist, where it sort of works outside the typical chain, from rigging to all the way through.
Yeah.
And the matte painters kind of play their own flight.
That there is some truth to that for sure. When I first started in the industry, everyone was saying matte paintings were prima donnas. Like, oh, these prima donna matte painters, and I didn't get it at the time. Like, well, why are they prima donnas? I get it, because not all matte painters have this, but to be a matte painter, you truly have to master a lot of disciplines. You need to know modeling, lighting, texturing, rendering, and you truly have to understand how atmosphere works. It's a big discipline. It's a big discipline and encompasses a lot of things, right? So that's why it took me a long time to really master that skill, because it wasn't something that happened overnight at all. And it's a hard discipline to learn, because you truly have to master a little bit of everything. In the pipeline you have rigging and animating. You don't have to master that discipline, but other than that, it's pretty much a master of most departments to get there.
Well, I'm sure we could talk about this for this entire stream, but let's move along. I think there's people here who probably want to see you work. But while we go, audience, please chime in with some questions. Nick is a fantastic resource. He's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. So use this opportunity to hit him up.
I can attest to the experience part. The knowledge part, I'm not so sure I can offer that.
Well, and I know that you've got your own studio now, FX Bang Bang.
Mm-hmm.
Bang Bang FX, excuse me.
Yep.
Which speaking of the audience, they are always on the lookout for someone with some serious talent.
Yes, we are.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this most recent key art that you just put out, Il Drago, which went out on our social last week. and it's been out on yours as well. And that was your first step in with one of our kits, right?
It was. Max had contacted me and told me about the idea of KitBash3d, and I said, "Well, how am I not the one to first do this? It's such a great idea, Max. I'm jealous." So I got behind it immediately. Like, this is a great idea. It's a great resource. It's going to make my job easier, right? And plus, I was doing that same day he showed me this. I was just finishing up my huge Game of Thrones binge, right? So I'm like, oh, perfect, castles. Let's do this. So I got the kit, tested it out, experimented, played around, and this was the first image I created from the kit, fresh off my Game of Thrones binge.
Mm. And when you go into like starting a painting, do you pull inspiration from the internet? I know you said Game of Thrones. Do you pull when you're looking for an approach or a strategy into a piece? How do you think about that?
Uh, I mean, inspiration is definitely a key part of getting motivated, and especially for when you're doing a personal project, because when you do it every day for work, you want to do the same thing again for your personal piece. Well, you need to be really pumped and motivated. I have a thing where I save all kinds of images that I like. I go to ArtStation. If something's really cool, I save it and I kind of categorize it: fantasy, sci-fi, whatever. So like for this, I just went through my fantasy directory, just scrolled through. Oh, this is cool. That's cool. I like the lighting. This is a great idea. And just to get your mind turning and see what is out there, so you can say, okay, don't do that. It's been done. Try this. Combine this. Just to get pumped, just to be inspired. And then from that point, this one I found a new resource. I actually learned it on Learn Squared of Daz3D. I was watching a Mache video, and I was like, "What's this Daz3D?" And I was like, "Oh my God, such an awesome tool!" And then this is where the dragon came from. So I said, "Oh, I can have the dragon from Daz, castle from Max, and then the Game of Thrones spirit." So that was kind of what led to this particular piece.
And there's Learn Squared is such an incredible resource.
Oh, big time. Those guys, I've learned a lot from these guys already.
Yeah, yeah, we're so pumped to be doing this with them. I think they put out some of the coolest stuff out there.
Yep. So speaking of KitBash3d, let's go to the site and get our kit on.
Oh, let's do that.
All right. So if anyone hasn't been to the site, here it is, kitbash3d.com. Right? We have our Neo Tokyo kit, our Gothic kit, Arabic, and Art Deco. And there's more kits on the way, by the way. Get ready for those. Neo Tokyo, a lot of awesome stuff in here. Max did a really good job of guiding all these and hired some great artists to make them. But the one I'm going to do first will be the Gothic kit here. So you come in, you get your kit. Let's see, how do we purchase this bad boy? Buy now. And then, speaking of this buy now, I feel this is a special time for a little offer coming up.
A little offer?
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Sponsored by Nick Hiatt. Yes, we are going to announce right now, courtesy of Nick, a flash sale. So anyone out there who is tuning in with us, if you type in the coupon code NICK20, all caps NICK20, we have given 3 coupons out for 20% off your entire order. Again, this is a flash sale. 20% off your entire order. Use the coupon code NICK20, all caps. Go now, because they go.
And you can't afford to not buy it at that rate.
Well, thank you, Nick, for bringing that extra special thing to our audience here of strong 73 watchers.
All right.
So let's jump right in. See what you do with this kit.
Alrighty.
Let's see your process.
I'm opening the kit, and while Maya processes here. All right. So
you pull right into Maya.
Right into Maya. The kit comes in FBX and OBJ, obviously. So whatever program you use, it can work. You have to excuse me. I'm not on my tablet here. I'm a little bit clunky on the mouse. Hold on. Let me get a pen.
Dorko76 says, "Thanks, guys. It is all thanks to Nick. His idea, and when artists get inspired to do things, we wanna do it. So this is the Nick special coupon."
All right, guys. So check it. This is our first look at the Gothic kit. So you come in, you see what all you have. Max and them did a really great job in busting it out into chunks. You know, you got all your turrets over here, so you can quickly see you have a fun sandbox to play with. But the real power of kits and kit bashing is having the individual components. Like if having the little pieces so you can make and design your own turrets, all that stuff is definitely a cool way to go to make it really fast. And having these things busted out like this will definitely increase your speed. Most kits that I buy, you would get one chunk like this, and you have to break it up individually as a user. But KitBash3d.com did a great job to break these out for us, so we can save all that time and money. One of the great thing about this kit is all the UVs. The UVs are absolutely perfect. They're all the same scale. You throw a texture on it, wraps across everything uniformly all across the board, across all the kits. It works great. So that's a huge time saver. So you don't have to UV anything and all that jazz. So there's a lot of great stuff in here. Look at these arches here. Look at all these cool stuff. Look at that. Max is the man. So yeah, there's some great stuff in here. A great way to play. And I'll just going to kind of poke through each kit just to kind of show you what you have available to you for each one. So look at all these cool shapes. So the thing that I really like about these kits, it's not about sticking this in your shot and calling it done. It's about seeing what you can make with these individual pieces. Like the creativity in the kit comes from how you use it, not necessarily in all the work that got to this point. Like, and it's also great, say if you're a character artist and you want to show off one of your characters, well, you're not an environment modeler, so why spend a week modeling a castle or a day modeling a castle when you're just going to kind of throw it out of focus and put it in the background anyway when the main focus of your image is your character. So this is another great example of where you could use a kit for this. So you don't want to spend a whole week modeling a castle, you just want to have a castle in the back just to kind of throw out of focus. This is a great use of it in your kit here. So being able to take these little pieces, bust them up, use all that stuff is awesome. And the way I would kind of start in the kit, if I knew what I wanted to do, I kind of had a rough idea of my scene, I would come in here and I would pick the components that I like the most, and I'd kind of just drag them out of it. Okay, I like this guy, I'm going to use him, I'm going to use him, I'm going to use this, boom, and I would just kind of make my own little sandbox of all the pieces that I want to use, right? Grab all these
And
guys.
Nick, I want to just jump in. The coupons are gone
Already?
The coupons are gone already. But Gouch, my partner in crime over here, wants to extend it to add 2 more. So we're gonna do that. But
going to 5, baby, going to 5.
Look at all the generosity this morning.
Hey, it's because of you, man.
It's your face. It's your face.
No. Well, hey, finally it's paying some kind of bills, huh?
Oh, Moody Blue says what coupons? If you go right now, which you may have a shot at it, Nick 20 at KitBash3d will get you 20% off your entire order.
Look at this. I haven't seen these pieces. This wasn't in the I made mine with the beta kit. These weren't in there.
Yeah, Nick was the first one outside to get a look at how these kits were going to work.
Nice. I haven't seen this piece yet. This is great. Cool. Well, you have a rough idea of this Gothic kit now. I mean, I could go in and show you every single piece, but I'd rather you explore that. I don't want to ruin the fun for you. All right, so I'm going to jump over to the next kit.
Well, and Nick, before I cut you off, you were talking about something I think that was really important. You were talking about how you're not just making a castle, you're making a moment.
Correct. Yeah, and like when it comes to kits, you know, there's some caution that should be had, right? If your goal is to design a unique, specific castle, kit bashing will get you in the door, but you shouldn't rely entirely on it. Because if you need to have an exactly brand new, unique thing, then it's only yours, and your job is to design a castle. Leaning on a kit you should be lighter. You should lean on the components, not the structures, right? So lean on the turrets and the bricks and the walkways, not the finished castle pieces. But now that being said, if your goal is to create an executioner scene where someone's getting their head cut off, the castle design isn't important. The thing is the moment. I want the emotion of the execution. I want the moment of the person on the ground getting their head cut off and the people in the crowd screaming. And the castle is sort of a background element, but it still needs to be created, but it's not critical the design of it. That is where I think kits are very powerful. Just because you can make something really quickly and it's not about castle design, it's about the emotion of the scene, right?
Right.
So that's where the artist needs to, to understand, okay, if it's about design, I'll use the components and I'll design my own thing from the pieces, not relying on the finished structures, right? Okay.
Bam. Well, I think they out there agree with you because all of the coupon codes are now sold out.
I think Maya
Uh,
crashed.
but thank you, Nick, for bringing that and offering that special deal to the people out there.
No worries.
All right. So yeah. So what kit are you looking at now?
Well, I tried to drag and drop it into Maya, which you're not supposed to do, and I think it hosed it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That was a user error on my side, not the kid, everybody.
Well, even Nick Hiatt has user errors. Can you believe it?
I'll have a couple a day, buddy. A couple a day.
How do you manage that? How do you, when you're just trying technical difficulty? How do you what do you remind yourself of?
I find a happy place. Slide. No, I just try and keep things in perspective because I mean, literally, like even when we were setting this stream up last night, we troubleshot for a good 20 minutes just to get the specific tech bits right. So, that should be also part of your day as a visual effects artist, especially if you're freelance. Because if you're in a big studio, oh, Maya's not enjoying itself right now.
Maya's not feeling quite well.
Oh well, hey, hold on. Let's do it this way. Oh, this shouldn't be here, huh? This should be over there. You're still sharing my main screen, right, Banks?
Yeah, I'm still. I see your OBS right now.
OBS?
Yep, and now I see just Maya coming in.
Okay, hold on. Boom. Let's do this another day. Okay, let me get this file up and then I'll start talking again so I can pay attention here.
George Emmanuel says, yes, I got the Neo Tokyo kit. Awesome, George. We want to see what you do with it.
Yes, enjoy that.
Who out there on the stream here has a kit already or one of the sample kits? What do you guys got? What are you working with? Chime in here and as Nick works out some technical difficulties of his own.
Yeah, mine's unfortunate right now. Oh well. If it doesn't work the first time, try it again.
Blake Catherine says, just got the Neo kit as well.
Awesome.
Thanks for the discount, guys.
Enjoy that, Blake. You're going to enjoy it. The one kit I haven't yet to open it. I'm trying to here. The one kit that surprised me the most was the Art Deco kit. I was like, oh, I could see some use for Art Deco. And as soon as I got in there, I was like, oh, look at this geometry. This is awesome. I was really, really impressed with the Art Deco kit. And I didn't know at first. I was trying to think, okay, what kind of scene could I make with Art Deco? And as soon as I got into the kit, I was like, oh wow, look at these shapes. These are awesome. But it was the most surprising kit for me.
And what do you when you see that? Where does your mind go? Do you think where does creativity spawn for you?
Well, I think if anything, just exploring the kit, the first thing that I thought was Batman because so much of the Gotham has Art Deco kind of feel to it. Okay, I'm live now. You got this kit, yeah? You can see me scrubbing through?
Yep, now we're in.
Gotcha, okay. All right, sorry for the difficulties, everyone. But this kit, as soon as I saw it, I thought Batman. Like, look at these cool shapes. This all screams Gotham right here. Because there's so much, Art Deco in Batman's world that I think it's a great kit. I'm going to love using this one. There we go. So yeah, this was the most surprising kit for me. There's so much good stuff in here and so many cool pieces and components to make. Look at this guy.
Hey Nick, we've got a question.
Please ask away.
Bang Bang FX, do y'all have a website up yet?
No, I just use my site for now. Just nickhiatt.com. Bang Bang is more just of a way for me to build corporately, really. Most of the work I just do it through myself. I did have a company before Bang Bang, and I was trying to run everything through my company. I just ran into a lot of hurdles and a lot of misinformation. Like, yeah, it was simpler just to run it straight through me.
Yeah, cool.
But I will soon, as soon as the demand is there, and I've experimented in the past with having a larger studio, and it's for being cost effective and the ebb and flow of work and the pace of outsourcing. I felt that having an actual footprint in the studio was a little putting the carriage before the horse, right? It wasn't quite cost effective at that time to get bricks and mortar and put a site down because I was just building through myself, pretty much. But
Yeah.
we may get there. Visual effects is a tricky industry. You know, you have to be on your feet and light as possible, especially if you're freelance. Like if you're an artist as an employee, life's so much easier. You don't have to worry about technical problems. Your computer shuts down. You talk to IT. Oh, hey, IT, my computer's down. My Skype don't work. Boop, and they'll come fix it for you, right? But that problem compounded when you're a freelancer is it's big because you could be down for the day. You could have these problems with your machine for the day. And you not only that, you have to keep clients happy, email clients, and as soon as you become remotely successful as a freelancer, the overlap starts. So you'll have one client here, one client there. So you end up working quite a bit more as a freelancer. If you want to be constantly working, you work more than you normally would as a studio, or at least I did. Because I remember back in the days at Sony and Rhythm and Hues when I would work 40 hours a week and go home and just have free time, and life was great. But as soon as I went out on my own, I started getting bags under my eyes, less sleep, gray hair, less dates going on.
It's so funny. You mentioned the steak dinner every night, and it sounds like in the beginning you really got to grind it out. Then you go on staff, and steak dinners come along with your 40 hours a week.
Yep.
And you wanna go out on your own and build something, and then you lose your steak dinner time again.
Yep. And I think too, like I had a unique experience coming into the visual effects world. I watched my hometown get slowly outsourced as a kid, by a trade agreement, and then I essentially came as soon as I started in the industry. I saw all the outsourcing happening to us. Like I was opening up a shop in India and Vancouver, and I was like, okay, well, I see this trend. I've been through it once. The only real stability for the way that I want to live would be starting my own company. And again, this goes out with the taking the risk thing. Like it was a huge risk for me to do that, right? I had a steady job, I was comfortable, and I went from working 40 hours a week to hopefully trying to find clients. And when I found them, I got really lucky, but then it turned into 100-hour weeks, right? Immediately. But having seen the outsourcing problem firsthand already as a kid, I said I'm not going to go through this again. I would either do my own thing, or I'll find another way to make this whole thing work. So it was a huge risk, and I took a risk. I was going to be broke potentially for a good 6 months while I tried this whole thing out. But it just so I was in the industry for a good 6 years beforehand, so it definitely helped me ramp in that I had connections and a network, which I never would have tried it without the network. That's what you need. This is a good little segue into networking and how critical it is.
Before we jump into that, Nick,
okay.
we had 2 questions on the stream.
Please,
first,
ask away. Happy to answer.
Moody Glue brings up a good point. Steak dinner is not healthy every night.
Well, how else going to get your protein, Moody? You got to get those carbs and the protein, buddy.
But it's a good point. It's a good point, Moody Glue.
Yes, he is. And
a metaphor.
Yes, thank you. I should probably not be eating steak every night either way. Should probably throw some veggies in there.
And then Marco Nemesio says, do you do a quick screen grab from your viewport of the kit, or do you do a proper render with lighting to bring it to Photoshop for the bash?
That's a good question. It depends on how fast you want to go and what you're using it for. If you're going to use it for a very loose, just quick mock-up frame, like a concept layout kind of frame, then a screen grab's totally fine. But if I was going to use this for my final render, I would pop it into Maya, throw some textures on it, and add some quick lighting in V-Ray or Octane or whatever your renderer is.
Bam, feel good, Marco.
But that's a good question, though. Please keep any questions coming. I'm happy to answer anything. Share what little I know.
Another good line in here from Portal Zane says, I want to see Nick use Art Deco to create a drunk Batman scene.
Okay, this is a... We'll do that. This brings up a really good good time to segue into this, Banks. I'm doing another live stream next week, and we're going to take questions this week of what would you like to see. Like this week, I'm just going to show off the kit and explain a little bit about myself. Next week, I'm going to actually take these kits and we're going to take a vote from all the listeners now. What do you want to see? What kit do you want me to use? So we got a drunken Batman scene, which is pretty awesome already from Porthole Zane.
Yeah, so we'll be taking votes this whole time, and I'll be keeping a list.
Yep.
Drunk Batman in Deco. I like that one.
Which is awesome. That would work great for this kit. It's perfect. I can see drunk Batman up to shenanigans. Any of the kits, whether you want me to use the Gothic, Art Deco, the Arabic, or the Neo Tokyo. But I kind of like Drunk Batman. That sounds fun. We'll see if anyone has a better idea. We'll throw it in the mix. We'll take a vote on it.
Yeah, I like that it goes for the moment,
Yeah.
within the environment.
Yeah.
Well, today I also we have those we have recordings of your session working with the Gothic Kit, right?
We do.
To make Il Drago. I was thinking, why don't we scrub through some of the recordings and you can show people a little bit of the process of how you made that last painting. Done. Chris Tulak McCabe says Art Deco, and I'm guessing that's a vote for Art Deco.
Thanks, Chris, for your vote. We got 2 Art Deco so far. I don't know how to. Does anyone know how to? I'm new to PC. Everyone's gonna have to excuse my ignorance here. Is there a way to speed up this player?
I think you just got to
increase rate. Control up. See, it helps to read sometimes. It's another good thing about troubleshooting. I used to be so adverse to reading anything. I just like to power through because I'm an idiot. But yeah, reading is critical.
I'm finding more and more. I'm just looking for infographics and visual cues.
I'll speed this up quite a bit here. There we go.
George Emmanuel Arnaud says, "Do you give lessons overseas? Like, would you be coming in a school in the Caribbean for a workshop?"
Yes, I do plan on going on a workshop tour next year with my buddy Patrick O'Keefe and Max Berman, who's the KitBash creator here. So yes, I will be going overseas, and if there is an opportunity to go to the Caribbean, I would absolutely do that, as long as you give me a couple days that I can stay there after and drink rum on the beach.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And burn.
Marco Nemesio, who had asked you that question before about photoshopping, says, "Damn nice."
Yep.
And Floptic says he wants a giant robot monster walking around the Art Deco scene.
Okay, and well, he could be the guy giving Batman the booze. I like it.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, we could do something like that.
Perfect.
And Dork 076 says, "I'd vote for Drunk Batman and Deco."
Looks like Portal Zane's Drunk Batman is the crowd favorite here right now.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe with the robot in the background or something. Yeah. And George, who asked about the Caribbean, says, "Perfect. Let's do this!" Exclamation point. So you might just get a ticket down to the Caribbean.
Where in the Caribbean, George? Just curious.
And then we got another question from Pedro Garam. As an artist, how can you transition from a motion graphics career to a VFX one? There are many common points between the two, but I think VFX is more complex and ambitious. Any tips? What is the most common software one should learn from? So several questions. First one is, how do you transition? Any tips, and what software?
That is a really great question. Motion graphics is a pretty good baseline to start, because you know most of the software and you know the routines, really. It's just about, I would say, my first thing would be, where do you want to live? Because if you want to move to a city that has a VFX, a big VFX community, you'll need a somewhat, you won't need to specialize, but it will help to specialize. Now, that being said, if you want to stay a generalist, there's plenty of work as a generalist, and a generalist will employ you better in a community that doesn't have a large VFX network, meaning, in a place like Los Angeles, there's so many visual effects jobs, people specify. You're just a texture painter or a modeler or a map painter or whatever. But if you're in a small town, like for instance Miami or something like that, you'll probably need to be more of a generalist. So that's the first thing to kind of think about. Where do you want to live? What kind of career do you want to have? And what inspires you the most? What part of the visual effects pipeline do you like the most? And motion graphics you can lean yourself a lot of ways. On motion graphics, you understand a little bit of modeling. You definitely understand animation for sure. So animation could be a good thing to look at if you like it, because you know keyframes, you know how to insert them, you understand the motion of and tweening and all that stuff like that. So I would think picking the thing you like the most and something that you won't mind doing for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week sometimes. So pick what you like the most and run with that. That's a really good question, actually. The transition is a really good question, because you have the skills that you'll need to do it. And I started out doing some motion graphics early in my career, because those were some of the jobs that were available as motion graphics. So find out what part of the pipeline you like the best, and determine if you want to be a generalist or you want to specify. And if you specify, there's a risk. You need to specify in a skill. If you want to be fully employed all the time, you should specify in a skill that's in demand, right? And think about the fiscal side of it too. Some skills pay more. So if you really care about money, then you might want to pick a skill that pays a little bit more.
I think that's such great advice in today's times where, the internet provides us so much opportunity. It's also really hard to figure out exactly how you want to fit into the industry. And I think it's really great advice to start with what you're good at. Because there's so much opportunity for people to be specialists, and then to build your own general knowledge of the whole process. So that way you can save time. Because really, I find like left and right, the internet is about speed, and the faster you can do things, the less people you can need to pull answers from, the more you can really get it going.
Yes, definitely.
We got a couple other comments and questions. George Manuel says, rum, guys, beer is overrated. And then he says, Martinique, exclamation point. And then Infinite Divide says, right near the beach.
Right near the beach.
And then we got a couple more votes for Drunk Art Deco, which sounds like it's taking the cake.
Awesome. That seems like going to be it.
Yep. And then CKKE says, watching your website at the moment, your VR stuff is absolutely amazing. How do you see VR evolving in the future, or just your feeling around working in it?
That is an awesome question. I think VR is basically the baby step to AR. Because as someone who's used VR, after an hour, you want that thing off your head. Dude, the helmet's heavy. I'm hot. My eyes are sweating. And it's like, okay, but my first experience in working in VR, actually painting and creating in VR, let me split VR to two things: play and work, right? And I'm going to talk about the work side. The work side, my first experience was Tilt Brush. And I was like, oh man, this is so cool. What can you do? And I can't wait to try geometry. And then I tried Gravity Sketch, and I was sold. Like, oh my God, Gravity Sketch was amazing. So I don't know if you've used Gravity Sketch or seen it. It has some really awesome features. You can do some pretty basic modeling in it. It's amazing. And whenever you model in VR, it's a total different experience of modeling in Maya. I mean, I've been using 3D modeling since 1997 or 98. And for the first time, I was able to walk around my model like, oh man, look at this, and like spin around it and scale it up and make it huge. And I was making the ship, and I was able to scale the ship so big that I walked inside of the ship bay. Like, oh, I'm inside the bay. This is what it looked like. So that's really awesome, and it's primitive for now. But I did a little hack on Gravity Sketch that I've never seen anyone do yet. I'm sure it'll happen. But I made a sketch in Gravity Sketch, and then I went into Maya and I built a little kit of low-res objects. And I bought a couple low-res spaceships, and I just busted them out into pieces for kits. And then I imported those low-res kits into Gravity Sketch so I could then grab them and move them around and place them. And there's a video on my Instagram of that, and I'll be posting it in my VR section soon. But it's really fun to model in VR. It's awesome. It's a ton of fun, but I think what really is going to change it is when we model in AR. Like when I can stand in my room, put on a tiny little contact lens, or just some glasses, something fun that doesn't weigh 10 pounds and make me sweat. That's going to change the game for sure. That's when it'll be awesome, because we'll be standing in our office, no longer sitting at a desk. We'll be modeling with our hands, moving things around. At first, I didn't think VR had a big place in our industry until I used Gravity Sketch, and then I realized this is going to be it. We'll be doing things in VR very soon, or AR, I think. That's a great question, by the way.
Well, the legendary Patrick O'Keefe
here he is.
And said, next time drink a shot every time you say Kit. Thanks,
oh
Pat.
Man, this is going to be
good luck at 8 a.m. or at 10 a.m.
10. Well, hey, you can't drink all day if you don't start first thing in the morning.
And Ploptic asks, how long did it take you to figure out the proper scale of your textures relative to the objects you're painting on? Is there a technical guide out there that you reference?
In this particular scene, yeah, I think I would just use a real life reference. Like In the end, I think my scale was a little bit off in this particular execution image. But what I would do, I would just go get a picture of a castle wall from whatever time period you want, whatever medieval castle time period you're into. I would get some photos of it. Find the scale, because there are different types of bricks in different regions. Some bricks are round, some were the exact same size all over the place, and some are multi-size, big, small, mix in the middle, just kind of hodgepodge put in. So reference is the first way to start. Find the reference that you like, find a castle that you like, and then go to get some textures. I think textures.com is a great place to go for that. Used to be CG Textures. I think it's changed now. But I've cleaned that place out. I bought every texture off that place. So yeah, I would say find a castle you like, and then find a texture that matches it, and then just have a real world. Always have a human in your scene for scale. So then you know what a 6 foot tall person looks like, and then you can estimate your scale. So almost every time I'm building a scene, I pop in a default human and just clone them throughout the scene, so I know what depth we're at just visually cued with humans. Human scale is critical or human scale is incredibly helpful. But you can see here my textures are a little bit off on this thing because I was just kind of speeding through it. But yeah, anyway, that's a great question. Please keep the questions coming. This is good. I'm happy to answer whatever.
Professor Maddi says, "Excuse me, I'm late. Who's this awesome host?" This Professor Maddi is Nick Hiatt. We go over some of his stuff in the beginning. And someone has just posted his website. So check him out, and he'll be back here next week too. We had another question from PR5K. Are there any favorite places you get your textures and other elements for photo bashing in Photoshop?
Absolutely. For photos, I use Shutterstock. Shutterstock can be expensive, but when you're doing it professionally, you want the professional photos. So when I was first starting out in my career, I didn't buy the images. I would just use Google. But you end up scrolling through someone's vacation footage 10,000 times and seeing people on vacation. You get tired of scrolling through vacation photos on Google. Because I know for the first couple of years before I knew Shutterstock existed, I would just go to Google and scroll through people's photos, and I would see them on vacation, smiling, laughing in the Alps, somewhere in the mountains, and I'm sitting at a desk in a dark room with a bunch of nerds like, ugh, God, I hate this. So I quickly made the switch over to Shutterstock, but it can be, it's cost effective for the job for sure, but it's a little pricey per year. Now, that being said, textures.com is another great place. Or it used to be CG Textures. Let me just see real quick, so I'm not telling you the wrong thing. CG Textures. I think just textures.com now is where it's changed to. This site is awesome. I pretty much cleaned this site out. I have had an account here since the very beginning. But since we're talking about castles, bricks, go here, medieval. And then you have all kinds of like regional Japanese walls and different types of blocks mixed, right? So this is a great resource for your textures. This has been around for a long time, since like probably 2003, something like that. So there's a ton of stuff on here, huge database. And like I said, this has been on here a long time, so you're gonna have a range of quality from the 2000 cameras till 2003 cameras till now. But a great resource. This is what I use for textures.
Bam. Yep. Well, Jax Schick says hello, and someone see me, anyone talk to me, which I think means yes, buddy. We see you, we hear you. Talking about wrapping textures and stuff, do you want to talk a little bit about how you would light and render and what your thought process is in this particular execution scene that we're looking at?
Yeah, for sure. Typically, here's another thing where I think reference is so important. I'm just going to let this play, so we've already gone through it once. I sped it up so fast, we've already done it. I don't think it's playing it real time, huh? No.
Mike 086 has got a question on ZBrush. Hit us up at info@KitBash3d.com, and we can give you some support there, Mike. Thanks, bud.
I'm sorry, Bates. Can you repeat that last question? I got distracted trying to fix this.
Oh, don't worry. It was we got it. It was a question for us. It was just info@KitBash3d.
No, the one prior to the ZBrush. Someone had asked another question.
George has got, are you taking a picture of yourself to make your own stock? What else we got here?
There was one you asked I never got to because I got distracted.
I'm
Ask it again if I didn't answer it, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Please come on through the stream.
I'm happy to answer whatever you need.
Well, we are. How do you do the poses? Do you rig them? Or use transpose?
This is a great question, and this is where I have to give shout out to Learn Squared. I discovered Daz from a Mache tutorial, concept characters or something. I'm not getting the name right, but just it's on Learn Squared. You'll find it. But I discovered Daz from him, and as soon as I did, it opened up a whole new door for me for character work because characters were never my strong suit, and I never focused on them because there was no money in it for map painting. Right, so as soon as I got into concept art, I was okay. I need to learn characters, and it was just never my strong suit. And so as soon as I found Daz, I said, "Oh man, this gets me halfway there really fast." And then I just paint on top, and I can also bring them in my scene and light them, and have cast shadows from them on my objects, and help stage my scene better. So Daz 3D is what I use to pose characters, and then I kick those into Maya for little tweaks. As you can see here, I'm tweaking his hood. It came in messed up. But Daz is never going to get you all the way there. It'll just get you a quick start, and then you paint on top. A huge time saver. Where before I relied a lot on photo ref for character work, and now the photo would drive the image, right? Because I was limited to photo, and now the character can drive the image in Daz, and then I can paint on top, which gets me there twice as fast, and I can have my 3D lighting as well. Right.
And for you guys out there who are primarily character people and are looking for some thoughts on how to build scenes around them quickly, as Nick comes from the environment world and now has melded characters to work in concept. And for you guys who are character people and want to jump into concept too, next week on Monday, Alex Fagini, the great character artist, will be live streaming on the KitBash3d Festival. And on Thursday, Justin Goby Fields, who, as a matter of fact, is the ZBrush World Champion.
What?
Another great character guy, will be live streaming on Thursday of next week in the KitBash3d Festival, presented by Learn Squared. Ploptic's got a question. What program do you like to use for texture tiling? What's the quickest way that you have seen for tiling textures with different edge blends?
Well, I usually just do my tiling, tile textures in Maya's UV editor, and just in the 2D texture the assignment, I'm blanking, the tiles of it. Yeah, so I don't do any specific texture work. I just go into Maya and I tweak my tile settings, and I just bring tile textures in. So I only use tile textures for this. Because that way it tiles automatically, and I just change my tile attributes, 1, 2, 4, whatever it is. I try to spend very little time texturing in Maya because I know that most of my paint work is going to be done in Photoshop. So, I mean, there's two approaches. Some artists use 3D, just the bare bones to get perspective, angles, orientation, all the things like that down. And then now with it, I have Daz in my resource, and 3D's become so much faster. I do more prep in 3D than I used to, for sure. It used to be I would just set the stage, get perspective right, put a building in, just kind of get my angles. Now I can build pretty fleshed out scenes, especially with KitBash3d.com. I can build scenes faster, right? And I don't have to spend time modeling and texturing. I can just throw my scene in, throw a texture on it, get the mood down, and then spend more time painting in Photoshop and less time in 3D. But I mean, the 3D game has changed since I started in '97. It's so much faster, and just even rendering now. I finally got a new machine. I'm on GPU rendering, and I'm on a new PC, and it screams. Where before my old machine was slow, and I would have to wait. Like literally, even this year, I was waiting 2 hours a day rendering. Right, so that game is changing fast, and more as 3D speeds up, and these computers become quantum computers, and we're rendering with insane speeds. 3D will become such a huge asset, for sure. Especially if it's come so fast. It's come a long way. So faster than it used to be.
Bam. Great question, Floptic.
Yep.
Thank you all for your questions today. This has been awesome. I'm so pumped to have Nick on the stage with us.
Yep.
You're such a incredible at what you do, man. And
thank you.
We couldn't be more pumped to be doing this. Now we also have Nick coming back next week on Tuesday at the same time, same place. Mulligan, we'll get to your question. And please, anyone else, keep throwing questions up here, and we're gonna keep going until your questions are done. But we are at our time because I got to get Nick. I know he's got plenty of things on those computers behind him that he's got to get to. But we are going next week with Nick at the same time, 10 a.m. on Tuesday, where it sounds like the votes are unanimous. Drunk Batman in an Art Deco.
This is going to be good. I already have a vision of what it's going to be. It's going to be great. I already see it in my head.
We got some questions here. Okay. What program? Nope, we just did that one. Can you discuss your approach to workflow for lighting?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. That was a question that I never answered. That's right. Okay, great. Good question. Well, to go back to the reference thing again, anytime I see a photo that has great lighting, I save it. And I put it in a directory called lighting. So I have a good 200 images of just beautiful lighting moments that I see. So if I ever have a scene that here's the mood I want, or sorry, here's the scene I want, the story, the emotion. So now let me just scroll through my lighting examples that really inspire me. So I'll just scroll through 100 photos. Oh, that's a great situation. Oh, I could try that here, this there. Pick bits and pieces from each lighting scenario, and I bring it in and apply it to my scene. So, but lighting should be, number one, lighting should serve a couple of purposes: to make your scene dramatic, and also to highlight one of your nouns, which could be your character, or the building, or the mech, or whatever it is. Whatever noun your story, your subject of your piece should be. The lighting should help frame it and should help point to it, right? Because the main noun of your subject should be highlighted, and lighting is one amazing way to do that. Like having your background in shadow and your dude being lit by light will make him pop out and stand out, and also make very clear to the viewer that he's the number one subject of your painting. Just visually, you know it immediately because he's framed in light and the background's not. So lighting is a storytelling tool. I actually went through, when I first was in the industry, I went through and took a frame of every key Hitchcock moment that I could ever find, and the lighting in those old black and white films, superior. And a ton of my reference library is black and white Hitchcock stuff. The lighting they did back in those days, in the black and white days, was just phenomenal. Go back and watch Hitchcock films and pay attention to the lighting. It's mind-numbingly cool. So yeah, just use lighting as a tool. Lighting is essentially a tool. It can frame your subject. It can add mood to your scene. In the execution scene, I specifically put the light right behind the axe to show it's a moment. The axe is about to cut down, and it's a big key moment, right? And it also helped frame the characters. I was able to make the castle wall dark and make the guy pop, right? And especially light coming in and pointing at our guy. Our guy is about to get his head lopped off for whatever discretion he did against the queen.
I think that's such a cool way to talk about it, about finding your noun.
Yep.
To make your story.
Yep.
I want to announce one more thing that if you guys are out there, you may already have downloaded a free sample kit from KitBash3d.com. If you have not done that, you can go right onto our website and you can download up the sample kit. And we are, from now until the end of the festival, running a contest for anyone who takes their sample kit and makes a piece of art with it. Submit it to us, send it to us, post it, tag us. KitBash3d or info@KitBash3d.com. We will post any of them that we think you've done your best on, and at the very end of the festival, all the artists on the festival are going to vote, and the one that they pick will win a free kit. So that is our free kit, our sample kit contest, which is going now. So again, if you haven't downloaded a sample kit, you can get one for free at KitBash3d.com. Another question from Chris goes: do you feel like matte painters need to also know how to use Nuke to get jobs in the industry?
100%. Nuke is a great asset for two reasons. Because you can plug up to anyone's pipeline in the industry, because most places use Nuke. A few are still hanging on to After Effects. Cost reasons, I bet, because Nuke's not cheap. But absolutely knowing, let me define knowing Nuke. Knowing how to set up camera projections in Nuke is what you want to do. Like knowing the ins and outs and bells and whistles, how to comp, it's not going to hurt you, but it won't help you as much as knowing camera projection, because doing camera projection in Nuke is a great asset on your reel, and you tie right into the pipeline. So yes is a short answer, but focus on camera projection and understanding how to place matte paintings in the scene without going in too much into the actual compositing situation of Nuke. Because knowing the comp stuff will help you, but it won't help you with matte painting. It'll just help you know Nuke, and you might get stuck doing compositing work instead of matte painting. If they know you know Nuke, you might be a compositor and not a matte painter. Because in the pinch, production will pull whoever's good at it on it, and that could be you if you let them know.
Man, that is great advice, and I think that's an excellent place to put a pause on our day. And we will pick this up same time, same place next week. But in between now and then, do not miss Jan Urschel, who will be streaming tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, in the KitBash3d Festival. I know he's got something really cool cooked up for y'all. And engage with Nick on social media at nick.hiatt.art. Or you can also find his work on his website or on Facebook. And hit us up as well. We are at KitBash3d across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We really want to hear from you. We want to know what you guys are doing. We want to see the artwork you're making. We want to engage with you, find out what kits you want to see next. We got a unanimous vote that next week Nick is going to be doing Drunk
Batman
in Art Deco. Nick, we cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedule to spend some time with us, man.
Thank you, and I want to thank everyone who's on the stream. I want to thank everyone at KitBash3d and everyone at Learn Squared for hosting us, and thanks everyone for all the questions. Tune in next week. We'll have a little Drunk Batman where I actually show more work or more boots on the ground work versus just showing off existing stuff we've done. I'm actually going to work on the painting live. So it may go a little bit longer. Maybe we'll do 2 hours because I'll need some to show some of that stuff.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But thanks everyone involved. Learn Squared, kitbash3d.com, and all you guys and girls and whatever viewing. Thank you so much for the questions and all that good stuff.
See ya!
Thank you. Boop.
And so you just drop it into the outro.